This is Hellbilly with Rockstars Glued Radio, and I'm talking to Aaron from the band Gemini Syndrome. How you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. I'm doing great. So now I noticed you all just wrapped up a tour with Mushroom Head not long ago. How was that tour for you?
That was great, man. It was great. Yeah, we got done about 3 weeks ago with them.
Oh, yeah? Cool. So now you all going to be on tour with the band Device. So where y'all be heading with this tour?
We start in Mobile, Alabama. That's where we just got to after a 40-something hour drive.
Mm-hmm.
So that show is tomorrow. I know we're doing a lot of Southeast stuff, making it over to Texas, some Midwest stuff, and then a little bit in the Northeast.
So I noticed y'all will be playing in Jacksonville, Florida next month for Welcome to Rockville, and also, or this month.
Yep.
And next month is Rock on the Range in Columbus in May. How does that feel to be on them festivals?
Oh, it's really cool. I mean, to be able to play with all the bands on these bills, are just legendary. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the bands that I grew up with and that have influenced me over the years, even up to now. You know what I mean? I've been on a really big Lamb of God kick for the past 6 months, and
right.
so we get to play with them at Rock on the Range and just a ton of iconic people, man.
Right.
It's really an honor to be part of it.
Oh, cool. So now I listened to y'all's song Basement, which is awesome. I love it. That's just been released not too long ago. How's y'all's songwriting process is like for you all as a band?
It differs from song to song. A lot of the time, it's basically they'll put the music together and I'll sit with it,
Mm-hmm.
And work on vocals.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll tweak things if we have to as far as arrangement goes. There were a couple songs we did in the studio where we did it all together with Kevin Chirico, the guy that produced our record. There were a couple that'll be on the record that were done like that.
All right,
So it depends.
All right, cool. Now, y'all just filmed a video this past weekend of the song Basement. How did that go?
It was good. It was a long day, and we literally left the next day. But
Mm-hmm.
we worked with a company called Volpine, and they were really interested in our vision for the song and for the video, and they were really great about giving their own input.
Mm-hmm.
Just from the takes that they did where I didn't have to perform and I got to watch, on their playback screen. I think it's gonna be an intense looking video. I'm really excited about it.
All right, cool. So what can fans expect from the video when it's released?
It's going to be dark and intense. It's going to be like the song is. It's really, the storyline goes hand in hand with what the song is about.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's really, really perfect, actually, I think.
All right, cool. So what's all in store for Gemini Syndrome this year, coming up later on in the summer and fall?
We'll be on the road. I don't have any definite details of who we'll be with or when we'll be out, where we'll be.
Mm-hmm.
But basically the plan is to get the record out in July, and we want to be out the rest of the year.
So now how long have you all been a band, and how did you all meet and form Gemini Syndrome anyway?
We've been around a few years, not too long, but we were just all in the same place at the same time with the same goal, and it just kind of manifested itself.
So how do you feel has the music industry has changed in the last few years? How do you feel the music industry has changed?
I think there was kind of a drought,
Mm-hmm.
so to say, for a couple of years. Not to say that there wasn't bands, but I think like everything, it goes in cycles. And it's been about, I don't know, maybe a dozen years since there was really a huge push. I noticed when I listen to radio, especially in different parts of the country, they're still playing, not that it's bad bands, but they're still playing Nirvana and stuff like that, like from, the 90s. And it seems like there hasn't been a ton of push for new music. And I'm hoping anyway, that cycle's coming around again, where we'll start to see some new talent come out, hopefully us, amongst others. And just that excitement that came from, the late 90s with System of a Down and Incubus and Linkin Park and Static X and
Right.
Cold Chamber and those kind of, you know what I mean? When it was really just this huge explosion on the scene of all these new bands that put their stamp on the industry. I'm hoping and thinking that's coming around again.
So now I saw the video on y'all's Facebook of from Waylon from Mushroom Head saying nothing but great things about you all. How did it feel to have someone like that saying all that cool stuff about Gemini Syndrome?
It was fantastic. Him and I got along really well on that tour. That was another band I came up listening to Yeah, I grew up in Chicago, so all the Midwest hard rock metal bands, I kind of related to, and it was an honor to be on a tour with a guy like that, with a band like that, and I got to spend a lot of time with him, and he was really excited about us, and he said a lot of great things. It was hugely complimentary,
Right. Cool. That's awesome. So, what's some of the biggest challenges to overcome as being a band nowadays in the music industry? What's some of the challenges?
One, there's just not the same kind of money there was, 10, 20, 30 years ago. So that's a big part of it. And I think that's just a reflection of the economy in general. It's not just the music industry; it's everywhere. Everyone's been struggling for a few years.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the whole digital age. People don't buy records in the same way that they did before, and it's a lot easier to access it for free, which is great for the listener and not so good for the artist.
Right.
So it's just finding ways to make sure that we stay relevant and people still want to be interested without just downloading it for free and then ignoring it. You want to get them involved and actually have them be a part of the band and a part of the band's community and a part of the band's message. So I think that's become incredibly important again, where I think for a few years that wasn't really a focus on necessarily the message. It was more just a kind of flash in the pan, as they say.
Right.
So trying to make yourself relevant in a long-term sense has become a new type of challenge in an old way, if that makes sense.
Right, exactly. So is there any advice you could give to younger musicians or bands that's just getting started into the music industry today?
Well, firstly, I can say something that I remember reading Dave Mustaine saying when I was a kid: play, and then play some more. You got to get out in front of people. We started, locally in our region out of LA, and slowly built out a little bit and just tried to get more people involved. Beyond that, I think being prepared is the biggest key. Right. Knowing what your vision is and what you want to present to people, and having your ducks in a row in that sense is hugely important nowadays. Because nobody has the time, the energy, or the money to just see a band and say, okay, we're going to take that and develop it, make it what it needs to be. It's like, you have to be there in the first place for anybody, whether industry or fans alike, to really notice.
Exactly. So what influenced you or inspired you being a musician in the first place, being a singer?
The first one was my mom. I started playing piano and singing when I was really, really little. I was about 3 years old. She really got me involved in it. I showed a passion for it early on. And I did that until my teenage years, and I started getting into, my friend had a guitar. His older brother was in a band. I started learning guitar from him, and then really got into rock music and metal music and all different genres at that point. I got really into techno for a while, and black metal, and R&B, and hip-hop, and rap. It's really just been the biggest part of my life since I was a kid, Right. I don't really think it was even a question that this is what I wanted.
Because I know, y'all songs, you got the great vocals and everything, really cool. So is there any pre-rituals you got to do before you get on stage? And how do you keep from getting your vocals, warmed up and without going out?
I definitely have some warm-ups that I do maybe about an hour before I start getting changed, but the fact that right now, we rule pretty much by ourselves. There's not really crew. There's not too much time for a pre-show ritual. We're all setting up gear and rushing on stage and trying to help the other bands off stage so we can keep everything running smoothly and quickly. Mm-hmm. And at this point, I make it a point to, after we're on stage and we're about to start playing, to go to every member of the band, give them a hug, tell them I love them, have a great show, and then we go. That's about all we have time for, really. Yeah. I know we all about an hour before I start changing and, do some stretches or whatever it might be, or vocal warm-ups or any of those type of things.
So now, if nobody got to see y'all perform live, what can people expect from that? And in 3 words, if you only had 3 words to pick from to describe your live performance, if somebody never got to see y'all perform yet, what 3 words would they be?
Energetic, intense, and entertaining.
Awesome. Now, did you ever take vocal lessons when you was younger?
I did, yeah. I took lessons from my mother and from her teacher, who was an opera teacher. And I was involved in choirs all throughout my youth. And then when I went to college for music when I was in my early 20s, I took vocal lessons again.
So now, if you could see into the future, a year from today, where will Gemini Syndrome be at?
I'd like to be headlining Rock on the Range.
Nice.
Right?
Yep, that'd be awesome. So what all sites can listeners find Gemini Syndrome at?
GeminiSyndrome.com, Facebook/Gemini Syndrome, any of the social media sites. You really just Google Gemini Syndrome and you'll get links to everything. We also have links on the actual www.GeminiSyndrome.com to anything we have, a YouTube page.
Cool. So what do you think about social media sites nowadays? Does it help a band out, or, you know, getting out there on the internet, Facebook and so forth as social media sites?
I think it's hugely important. It's hugely important at this point. There's been such a shift of people's attention spans to social media and to YouTube and Facebook and those types of sites that if you're not utilizing that, you're missing an entire part of your arsenal.
Cool. So that's awesome. So I just want to say thank you so much. I just want to say thanks for calling me and taking your time out to talk to me. I got one more last question. I'll let you go. What does music mean to you?
Music in general or my music?
Any music. What does music mean to you, period?
To me, it's one of the most important parts of my life. Like I said, I've done it since I was so little, and it's always been there. It's been therapeutic for me. It's been motivational. You know, I'm always listening to music. I'm always writing music. And it's a great way to bring people together, people that might not know each other before that, you know, the community aspect of it. But on a personal level, I think it can pull you out of the deepest pits. It can enhance the most beautiful parts of your life. It's pretty universal in that sense.
Cool, totally agree. I just want to say
you're more than welcome, man. You're more than welcome. My pleasure. This is Aaron from Gemini Syndrome, and you are listening to Rockstars Blues Radio.
Color-coded blasphemy.